80 Rhino Republicans just joined hardcore leftists in the House of Representatives to pass a nationwide vaccine registry and data collection bill, completely contrary to the Fourth Amendment. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. You got that right, 80. And 4 Republicans co-sponsored this bill, joining hardcore leftist Congresswoman Ann Kuster, the Democrat of New Hampshire, on November 30th to pass her proposal through the House and get it to await a Senate vote. This bill leverages inappropriate leftist media hype about COVID-19 and all their fantasies about mRNA jabs and puts it together in a cuddle thy neighbor until he collapses National Vaccine Registry and Medical Data Storehouse that stands in utter contravention to the Fourth Amendment. And by the way, no one will even talk about the fact that Congress has no enumerated power to create or fund the agencies that are going to handle this. Agencies like the Health and Human Services Department, HHS, and the Centers for Disease Control, CDC. There's nothing in the Constitution about them at all. Given the glorious title, Immunization Infrastructure Modernization Act, and I'm going to repeat that, check it out, Immunization Infrastructure Modernization Act, H.R. 550 will take $400 million in taxpayer cash for, as the politicians claim, immunization system data modernization and expansion. Sounds very quaint, doesn't it? Now, imagine if during the colonial period, during the time of, say, the Stamp Act, King George and the British Parliament had cooked up a statute that they called the Stamp Records Infrastructure Modernization Act, and then promoted it as they increased invasions of homes, businesses, and even wagon inspection, and claimed that they were just modernizing and expanding their system to help people. If you can picture that, then you have a handle on the tyranny and invasion of privacy cloaked in mother hen rhetoric that Kuster and her allies are pushing, and which might just see passage in the Senate and then get signed by Joe Biden when he takes a break from finger painting with his drug-haunted son. As Gregory Hoyt notes for Red Voice Media, quote, Democrat Representative Ann Kuster, who is the main sponsor of the bill, dressed the effort as being a means to facilitate a reminder for patients when they are due for a recommended vaccine and hone in on areas with low COVID jab rates to ensure equitable distribution of vaccines. Which is curious for 3 reasons. The first is that it's the same decayed "we're the government and we're here to help" spiel that Kuster and her ilk continue to force feed, despite it being way past its believability expiration date. And by the way, come to think of it, there never was any time when that line was believable. The second is that this is fascism. It is a public-private partnership, as they call it, that runs completely contrary to the U.S. Constitution. And if anyone doubts this, here is some explicit language from H.R. 550. Paragraph 3, public-private partnerships. In carrying out paragraph 1, the Secretary of HHS may develop and utilize contracts and cooperative agreements for technical assistance, training, and related implementation support. End quote. And by the way, for the uninformed in Antifa, which is pretty much all of them, those who parade in their black cassocks and ninja smurf outfits as they claim that they're anti-fascists, here's a little heads up, guys. In political philosophy and economics, fascism is the combination of state and corporate power, wherein the collectivist state controls or lends assistance to favored businesses that are, in name only, privately owned. Any public-private partnership, as they call them, is by definition fascist. There is no circumventing that reality. And Benito Mussolini likely would have applauded the contemporary flourishes Representative Kuster has added to his old fascist stylings. The third curiosity here is seen in that paragraph 1 mentioned earlier, and it's much broader in scope, covering the entire bill and the whole approach of the so-called vaccine registry concept. Now, we're going to go into detail here. Please stick with me. This is really key. Paragraph 1 states in part, A, conduct activities, including with respect to interoperability, population reporting, and bidirectional reporting to expand, enhance, and improve immunization information systems that are administered by health departments or other agencies of state, local, tribal, and territorial governments and used by healthcare providers. And hold it and play the screeching tires if you want, because here we need to pause and note that barely any of that is consistent with any enumerated power in the very Constitution that created Ms. Custer's tax-paid office, except perhaps for the handling of territories. Even the tribal matters there are pretty much far out of constitutional bounds. But wait, there's a lot more. Let's get back into this. Under H.R. 550, the feds will, paragraph 1, section B, award grants or cooperative agreements to the health departments or such other governmental agencies as administer immunization information systems of state, local, tribal, and territorial governments for the expansion, enhancement, and improvement of immunization information systems to assist public health departments in subsection 1, assessing current data infrastructure capabilities and gaps among healthcare providers to improve and increase consistency in patient matching, data collection, reporting, bidirectional exchange, and analysis of immunization-related information. And subsection 2, providing for technical assistance and the efficient enrollment and training of healthcare providers, including at pharmacies and other settings where immunizations are being provided, such as long-term care facilities, specialty health care providers, community health centers, federally qualified health centers, rural health centers, organizations serving adults 65 and older, and organizations serving homeless and incarcerated populations. End quote. Okay. Now, in order to get a really good handle of this, I want to work backwards from what I just read to you, that wondrous paragraph 1, section B, subsection 2, and then we'll get into subsection 1 and we'll start to open this up. In subsection 2, we can see the clear fascism as the feds not only spread their tentacles into community health centers, but also pharmacies and what they call organizations. But then, if we look in subsection 1, we can see the other key facet of the bill, which is that it has to do with data infrastructure and so-called gaps in collection and reporting. Taking that and then looking at the next 2 subsections, we get to find out what this is precisely all about. Subsection 3, improving secure data collection, transmission, bidirectional exchange, maintenance, and analysis of immunization information. And subsection 4, improving the secure bidirectional exchange of immunization record data among federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial governmental entities and non-governmental entities. End quote. In other words, this is a vaccine registry. It's medical data mining. It is health inspection conducted electronically by the agents of the state. Perhaps folks will think about this and they'll remind their senators about it before it's too late. Perhaps they'll sound alarms about both H.R. 550 and HIPAA. And by the way, it was just about a year ago, on this very day, that I reported on the stirrings of this particular legislation. And virtually nobody's talked about it. Well, now you can ask your friends how much they've heard about this story in the pop media. And then feel free to check the hyperlink in the bill and see which rhinos voted for it, including The Rhino co-sponsors, Larry Bouchon of Indiana, James Baird of Indiana, David McKinley of West Virginia, and the wonderful Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. You might want to contact them, and you might agree that checking out HR 550 and sounding the alarm is definitely worth it. Thanks so much for finding this time together worth it. I hope you'll share the videos. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and on Rumble. We'll see you inside Facebook. I'll see you on Twitter, by the way. I want to mention, for a week, I was pushed off of Twitter because I posted some FOIA requested information that you might have heard about that came out about the FDA. Yeah, they didn't like that. So if you've tried to contact me on Twitter, where I am at Gard Goldsmith on Twitter, I'm back. So I'll try to catch up on my messages. Thank you for being interested. And you can always find me at Gab, at Gardner Goldsmith on Gab. You get great interaction there, and they don't censor me there. And please head to Rumble to watch MRC TV's videos there, because they don't censor us either. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.